I want to welcome you. And before we begin the show, I always start with a stupid question just to make people comfortable. Is that okay?
I love stupid questions.
So if you could only... If you could only one sandwich for the rest of your life, like one type of sandwich for the rest of your life, what sandwich would it be?
A tuna melt. I'm a big tuna melt fan. Does everyone say tuna melt? No.
No. Hardly.
No.
You're the second tuna person. So, and it always surprises me. Now, what would be in the tuna melt?
Oh, a perfect tuna melt. It's on rye bread. It's like, I'm not actually Jewish, but like a good Jewish deli tuna melt. Like, that's great, especially if it's after like you've been drinking and it's, 1 o'clock in the morning. And
tuna melt after you've been drinking?
Yeah,
that
when you
sounds like a recipe for vomit. Ooh.
No, well, what do you drink? I don't know what you drink, but it's like the end of the night. Because I'm not a big like carb person, so the only time I have a tuna melt is when I'm like being bad. Oh, are you a bourbon whiskey guy? See, my fiance is aficionado. Am I saying that right? So we have a lot of bourbon and whiskeys, and we have a tiki garage bar. It's not getting as much use.
Really?
Yeah. You see, those are all tiki money behind me.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah. So is it like a real bar? Like, is it an open bar? Like, people come to it? Or is it like just a personal...
Well, yeah. Well, he converted the garage into a tiki bar, which in the tiki world is like a thing, I guess, to have home bars. It's so funny. Okay. And I have this big like quarantine white trash hair. I'm like, we got a bar in our garage. So yeah, it's a little bit like that. But no, is it open to the public? During COVID, we were like, dude, we should sell Mai Tais like out of here, out the window. But no, we haven't done that yet. No. We don't want to get around.
So you see, the point of the icebreaker is to figure out who you are. You don't have to worry about being white trash because you're with the most white trash person there is. So you don't have to worry about that. But I'm from Tisdale, Saskatchewan. I'm north of you about 3,000 miles. Tisdale, Saskatchewan. So I'm in the middle of the Canadian prairies, which is we're as redneck as it gets. Anyway, Sadie, can you tell me about what you do? And you're in Hollywood, right? That Los Angeles, close enough?
I am. I'm in LA. I'm over by, I guess, more. I'm right by Silver Lake, which is used to Silver Lake used to be like the ghetto, and now it's like, the new Beverly Hills for hipsters and celebrities. So I'm right by there. We're in Atwater.
So one of the things about that is when I said you're in Los Angeles, anybody that doesn't live in Los Angeles automatically assumes it's just Hollywood. So yeah, it's fantastic. Can you tell me about what you do? You're an actress, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I've been acting for a long time. I do a lot of horror films. So if you're a horror movie junkie,
that's right.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the Wrong Turn series, I was in the last one, Wrong Turn 6. I played Sally Hilliker. So a lot of people who are super fans of that series like the fact that I was the crazy, incestuous cannibal sister who wanted to have sex and eat everybody. That's
hot. But anyway.
Yeah, she's definitely nuts. So I do tend to play, and then, I've played a couple. I've made a nice little niche of playing kind of over-sexed, hopped up, crazy characters that all have their different form of crazy. This last year, I did a film in Italy that was a more serious twist on that called Megan. It's a thriller that's coming out, and you can watch it now on Vimeo. Vimeo, not Vimeo. Is it Vimeo?
Vimeo.
Yeah.
Vimeo? Is that right?
Yeah.
somewhere online.
Yeah, Vimeo. Sorry, Vimeo. That's more of a thriller and very serious and straightforward. Where I've played where that's like a psychological thriller, and it's a sort of a revenge thriller, like a Misery meets a hard candy, and that's very serious. But I've also got to play kind of the crazy, antagonist in Best Party to Hell and the remake of Blood Feast. And so I've got to do these really absurd characters that are great. And I've also get to play, of course, the girl who runs in the woods and screams and cries. That's not as much fun as being the one who's doing the chasing.
So here's the thing. Acting is art. A lot of people would disagree with that. But in my view, I've been a stage hypnotist. That's what I do. I do comedy hypnosis across Western Canada. And when I'm performing, it is a very therapeutic outlet for me, and I get to take on different characters. How do you reconcile the characters you take on with yourself? You know what I mean? Because you almost have to take their psyche on a little bit to be able to play them. So how does that work to do it?
Well, I'm a pretty out there person, and I tend to live like I did Meisner training for, God, over a decade. So myself doesn't have a lot of barriers to, like, if you know me, like, you know how I feel about you, you know how I feel about that tree, you know how I feel about kind of everything. So I think it is really therapeutic for me. I'm not that shy of a person. So, like, I think for me, I don't mind getting really messy on camera and maybe not looking as beautiful as, like, if I'm going to cry, I'm going to, like, be sobbing and snot coming down. And it's not going to be like some pretty beautiful girl who's crying. It's going to be like the, what is it? Shelley, oh God, forgive me, from The Shining.
Oh, yes.
I
know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like how horrible. I can't remember her name right now. But she, to me, like, that's somebody whose whole body and mind and everything is doing, good acting. You're tricking yourself into playing the magic as if, you're living in those circumstances. It's really therapeutic to me because I am somebody who wants to express myself at a 10 all the time. And like most of my family and life would like me to maybe express myself at like a 6. So the second I get on set, I'm like, yes. Where else do you get to like run around and scream? Even in like a drama, I'm a big crier. I just got to do a comedy called The Fargo Christmas. And my character, of course, comedy is tragedy, was always like ready to burst into tears, but also really funny, had all this energy. And I loved her so much. And it is like, when you get to go in and play all your emotions out there, when we live, we live in like a world where we're like trying to hide how we're feeling, which is hard for me. I don't know how it is for you.
It is absolutely that way for me. I'm an entertainer, but with the hypnosis stuff, specifically with COVID, we've been locked in our houses basically across the continent, across the world, right? So right. That expression has been gone for a lot of the arts community, and actors are part of the arts community, right? You can't get your stuff out there, which is what this show is about letting yourself out. As a actress, a lot of people have this grand thing in their mind about who actresses are and what they do, the parties and all that stuff. What's the day in the life of a normal actress that is not a Scarlett Johansson, that's not Drew Barrymore? What's the day in your life like that's I don't mean to be mean, no. But not Hollywood
small version of that. So, like,
okay,
I like that question, actually. I always say that, like, I'm running a small business, but like I'm running my own small business. So my team is much smaller. Like, Jimmy Starr is my publicist. So if I have an interview, he'll let me know I have an interview with you. So that's on my thing, but no one's here doing my hair and makeup because that would make me go broke. And I'm setting up my own lights. So last week, like, I had to redo a room in my house to stage for auditions. So that's part of my home business. So I had to put more money into the lights. I was trying to figure it out. It's funny. It's like I just finished a screenplay. So if you're an actor in LA, you normally have your hand in like lots of pots, not one. So you're like, okay, I've got this project over here. I just finished the screenplay yesterday, which is cool. But so I've got that project over here, but then I'm taking the master classes, which I don't know if you've heard about them, the master class.
Yes,
online.
I have.
So
yeah, they've got everything, right?
Yes, I'm really excited. I got to go back into doing it because I was doing Ron Howard's thing, which I love. So if you're an actor and you're really dedicated, you're always studying at some point something to learn to further what you're doing, because it's a business that's like rapidly changing. This morning, I woke up and I was whether or not I should switch my Instagram to a pro business account, so it says something underneath or not. So a lot of like people don't understand, like, I'm not taking selfies because I like to take selfies. It's part of my, building a brand and building a thing. And that's a lot of work that I don't necessarily like. I'm an adult. I have a child. Like, I don't know if I don't understand why anyone's on Instagram. Really, I think it's a pain, but so I think like my day is kind of figuring out, what more needs to go back into my business. Do I need more pictures, answering emails? It's actually really, honestly, I think people would be really surprised, most of my friends who are actors in LA, how much they actually do work at doing. Like, if you go to their house, they have a wall of headshots, they have a wall of goals, they have a wall of contacts. That's the only way you're a working, independent actor, is you're constantly doing it. And you're constantly taking money that you made and tossing it right back into your business of like, I need a new reel. I'm going to print new pictures. I colored my hair blue during COVID. That was a nightmare because I couldn't get it out of my hair, and I could have done a job during COVID that was approved during COVID, and I lost it because I stupidly colored my hair blue. So yeah, that's a long. Is that a long answer? It kind of is. Sorry.
No, it's not really a long answer. The whole point of the show, Sadie, is to get the person underneath. That's who I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to the person. Well, I did this movie and this is what's coming out. That's the most boring shit that we could talk about.
I hate that. Right.
What I want is the real you, right? So you talk about being a mother. How hard is it to balance that in Hollywood? How hard is it to balance that type of thing?
Well, it's funny because he's going to be 19 next month. And
holy cow.
When he was 17. So before, it used to be a real juggle, and now he lives like 2 miles up the road, and he lives in Hollywood, and he was a model for Ford, but he doesn't want to model anymore. He wants to just dedicate himself to his art. He's a contemporary artist, which means he does very graphic paintings of penises and all kinds of things. He does some art that makes me, but it's funny because through him growing up, that was like, if I booked a job, I'd be out of the state, and then I'd have to find someone for him to stay with. And sometimes I would just decide when I got back Like, wow, I've been gone a month. I'm not going to be able to take another job because I can't just work continually and not see my kid because I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in a relationship at the time, which I had a few of them. So yeah, it was a weird thing to juggle. So I did a lot of I did films that were, dramas and comedies and horror, but there was also nudity involved. So, there's ramifications for doing that. Or I did a show on Playboy that was scripted. So it was not sex, but there was simulated scenes. And so, there's kind of like this minefield you're stepping through, and then you forward acting is expensive in LA. Like, it's expensive to live here and to do this. I always tell people, stay where you are and be a regional actor. You'll probably book more money, at least, for sure.
That makes sense. I've always thought about working in the US doing my comedy hypnosis shows. But the truth is, I don't think it's worth it. I think I make more where I'm at, working in Western Canada and getting decent rates. So I'm going to touch on two things that you talked about. Number one, where does your son get the inspiration to draw penises all day?
What's so funny is, I thought it was a stage. Boys, we lived in this one apartment, and we're moving out, and he's like 12, and everywhere I looked, there's little drawn penises in the corner, in the wall, and the he thought it was the most hilarious thing. So I think his art, though, isn't just he's very into Banksy and he's into Warhol. Basquiat is his favorite. So he's 18. He's gonna be 19. He's going to have his second art show. So I think he's really into provocative to him images, which he's also I went to his first art show, and he had these big pictures, and they had heroin syringes in them and all this stuff that I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? What's going on in your life that I don't know about? And I think a lot of it is just at that age, it's the shock value. And that's it's all really new. And, it's when you first learn the F word, you're like, so
FFF. Yeah, my 3-year-old does that.
And who am I to look, I can't say anything because this kid has been there by my side as I'm playing these completely whacked out characters who are doing crazy things. And, I had to sit this movie's going to come out. Your friends are probably going to see it, which they did. And I'm going to be topless and half the movie biting people's heads off, or is this going to be something you can handle? So
my other question from the original stuff, it goes back to you being topless, of course, but I'm going to ask you a silly question. Most people don't know how movie sex works, and you talked about simulated sex,
right?
You're a very beautiful woman, and the human being you were performing with, how did they control themselves? How does it actually work? Does that make sense? Because obviously it'd be very unprofessional to pop one up, right?
It's so funny. Men always ask that question. And what's really funny is, they have something that the girl wears and the guy wears, and it's a sock over the guy. Most of the time you're only filming from the waist down, but let's pretend.
But
sorry, the waist
sock's not going to contain a boner.
The waist up.
A sock's not going to contain a boner.
Oh God.
It'll contain it, but it's going to still be standing straight up.
I guess that's happened. And you're in a really funny. I think sex scenes are really fun. I mean, my fiance doesn't think they're so fun. I think they're really funny because everyone else is like so, uptight, and the crew is normally like they're doesn't know if they should look or what. And I kind of have a joke about it because I'm in a relationship, I'm engaged, I'm happy, and my friend who's an actor, Randy Wayne, who's amazing, who's with a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous girlfriend. We were doing some pretty crazy things, including a scene where I'm use a strap on him, and it's off camera, but it's
you're pegging him.
Yeah. It's an intense scene, and I'm screaming and crying, and he's crying, and it's like this very, intense interaction. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I think as an actor, you're just like, either you go 150%, you like jump in and you're not judging things. And like, if something, you trust your acting partner in the scene. So, I mean, I have worked with people that I'm like, buddy, you need to back off. Like, I'm not into you. This is me doing a part. But most of the time, like, actors, besides Randy, who's absolutely wonderful, but actors can be kind of vain, and they're so, like, male actors who I love, but they tend to be more fixated on what they're doing and what they look like on camera. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Being with you. I mean, most of them are attractive enough that they get laid, so they're not like chance to. I think if that's what it was about, they would probably be porn stars, because that's a pretty easy business to be in. Acting is
except you need a 12-inch
hard business to be. Pardon the pun. Acting is a hard business to be in. It's just, it's like, if that's what you're in for, you're in the wrong business.
That makes sense. The reason I asked that isn't for some weird perverted reason. It's because it's genuinely, I want to know. I don't know how that stuff works. I've never been in Hollywood. I've never really acted in a movie, and it's questions that people have every day. Like, and to be honest, when a good actor or actress goes up there and does that stuff, it looks like it's real, right? If it's done properly, it looks like it's actually happening, right? So understanding some of the back end of it, it's kind of like professional wrestling. Yeah, we all know it's fake, quote unquote, right? But we all know that if we got in there and did it, we'd probably be dead, right? It still hurts. So it's blurring the lines. What projects do you have coming up in the next little while that are coming out? Do you have anything that you know of that's coming out soon?
I have a film by Thomas Churchill, the director and writer, called Amityville Harvest, which I'm super stoked about. Okay. That also stars Kyle Lauder, for people who are soap opera fans. I'm going to say that. Kyle Lauder. And it's called Amityville Harvest. It's one of 3 in a trilogy. So it's the first feature in the trilogy, and it's scary, and it's a vampire movie, and it's got lots of jumps. It's really fun. I love it. So I'm looking forward to that release. This film's been held up for a couple of years. I think it's coming out, and I love it so much, called State of Desolation by Jim Towns, who's the director-writer.
Okay.
It's a fabulous, fabulous zombie movie. And if you think that you've done enough of the zombie genre, this is done really spectacularly, especially for an indie film. And this has Jamie Bernadette and Craig Stark and Jessica Morris. Dominic Swain is in it. So, I mean, there's some really fun names and some surprises in it. And I can't wait for Megan to be released, because that's the film that does the pegging, but it's actually really it's a really great thriller, and it has a really wonderful twist ending that I think people are going to love. And it's by Silvio Nakuki, and it was filmed in Italy, and I absolutely love. They filmed it did such a good job as only Italians know how to do for filmmaking.
That's fantastic. Is that all the ones you want to plug, or is there any more?
Well, I'll leave it at, I don't know with this COVID. It's funny because it's like, I wonder some of the things that I'm like, I'm holding off on because I'm just wondering on the delay, but I know for sure those are coming out this year, and I'm excited about. Oh, and Fargo Christmas, which will come out a while from now, but I'm really excited about it because I never get a chance to do a comedy, and that was like a big goal of mine, and I just filmed it in the very beginning of January, and it has Ed Asner and a couple other fun names. And I love my character, and this was kind of my goal this year, was to do more comedy and to switch things up a little bit. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm guessing that will come out around Christmas. But there was also a rumor that it might come out in summer. When they do like Christmas and summertime.
Yep.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And I might be coming to Canada if things open up for the Shock Stock. Have you been to Shock Stock, Canada?
I live in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing close to me. I'm like the middle of the country where the two big cities are on the ends, and I'm in the middle of everywhere. So I've been nowhere. Sadie, you can be found on Instagram at Sadie Katz down there. Yeah. Everybody look somewhere down there. And the last plug I want you to give is, where do people find your son so they can buy his penis pictures?
Oh my God, I love you for saying that. It's Stone Cats Art. Well, let me see right now. I have to look it up. Stone Cats Art. I love that. Thank you. He'll love that. Don't you judge him. He's only 18. His art's actually really good though. It's Stone Cats Art. He'll love that.
Okay.
And he's got another.
And that's on Instagram.
Yeah. Look at this. He has more than penis pictures, but he also has some crazy songs. But yeah, you just do you see? I just turned into the crazy, happy, proud mom. He does these really psychedelic pictures. Yeah.
Nice.
Isn't that great? Yeah.
That is good. I like that. So everybody, that's Stone Cats, right?
Yeah, Stone Cats Art.
Okay. And that's on Instagram. Sadie, we end the show in one way. I ask you one last question before we end off. If you could, the question is always, we've plugged your stuff already. I'm just making sure I got everything in. The beauty of live TV, right? Or live video.
Yeah.
The last question I always ask is, with all this COVID stuff happening, we're all locked. I don't know if you're locked up where you are, but most of us are smart enough that we're staying in our houses and not spreading disease everywhere. What's one thing you've done today for yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself, to make yourself happy? And you can't say this interview because honestly, we've never met before, and this has been fantastic. But what's that one thing?
Oh boy. Oh, that's a sweet thing. It's one thing today that to make myself happy. Well, that's a well, I mean, getting ready for the interview made me happy, but beyond that, well, I had some nice egg whites and a cup of coffee, which is nice. And I woke up for the first time in a really good mood today. So I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I haven't woke up in a good mood most of this quarantine. So today was a good mood day. So yeah, I think just smiling and being happy was like a plus. It was a win today.
That's awesome, Sadie.
Yeah.
I do really, truly want to thank you for coming on. You seem like a real human being. I think the point of my show is to get people to connect with other people more than anything else, right? During this time, we're basically effed, right? We can't really get out and talk to people, but this is a way for two people to have a conversation and connect with others. We have two people who are watching right now. I'm going to ask them to share the damn video. It helps me. And Sadie's been wonderful. Sadie, anything else before we end off?
Well, make sure I can share the video, and thank you for having me. And I'm sending you love to Canada.
Thank you so much, Sadie. And I will let you go. I'm going to hit end broadcast, and I'll keep you on for a few seconds.
Okay.
And we